All right, welcome to another deep dive. This one's a bit of a tearjerker. We're going deep on a sad love story, so get ready to feel things.
Yeah. You know, I think what really gets me about this story is it's just so relatable. I mean, we've all felt that, like,
Yeah.
that kind of unspoken longing, the fear of taking a risk, you know,
hmm
putting your heart out there.
It's definitely one of those stories that just pulls you in from the very beginning.
Yep.
So, we start on a California farm, right? Two 6-year-olds meet. They're innocent. They're carefree. We see them playing, fighting, sharing secrets by this old fence.
Classic childhood stuff.
Yeah.
But even at that age, you can see how different their personalities are. He's quiet, he's kind of introspective, and she's just this ball of energy. She's constantly talking, always confiding in
And
him.
you can see how she just finds comfort in that,
Yeah.
in his stillness. And that really sets up the stage for, their whole relationship moving forward. And it's interesting to see how that dynamic, how it kind of evolves as they grow up. She starts to see him as more than just a friend, but he always seems to have a girlfriend. High school, college, always someone else. And so she's just left with this simmering, unspoken longing.
And then there's that scene on graduation night. That always gets to me. They're sitting under the stars, sharing their dreams for the future. And it's like the air is just thick with unspoken emotion. It feels like the perfect moment for her to finally say something. But she doesn't.
Ugh, I know. That fear of rejection, the fear of ruining their friendship, it's so relatable.
Yeah.
And then to make matters worse, he moves to New York for a job. So now you've got not only this emotional distance between them, but you've got this physical distance too.
And that's a huge turning point for her, not just in their relationship, but in her own emotional journey. She pours herself into her career, achieves a lot of success, but there's always this feeling of what if, like something's missing.
Totally. And then out of the blue, he sends her a wedding invitation. It's like a punch to the gut. You can really feel her heartbreak as she grapples with the fact that he'll never be hers.
Right. It's just this moment of profound internal conflict for her. She's
Mhm.
happy for him, but she's also heartbroken. And then attending that wedding, she's forced to confront all these emotions while putting on a brave face,
Mm.
that brief encounter with his bride, the farewell.
Yeah.
It's almost like she's mourning a love that never even had a chance to bloom.
Yeah. It's brutal, especially because we know as readers
Yeah.
that she's not the only one carrying a torch. Years later, he comes back to the farm, divorced and looking for comfort. And where does he go? Back to that old fence, back to that symbol of their connection.
And that's what I love about how the author uses that fence. It's not just some random object.
Mm.
It represents all those unspoken barriers between them, all the baggage they both carry.
It's heavy stuff. And even with this rekindled connection, she still can't bring herself to tell him how she feels. So he heads back to New York, promises to visit soon. Then tragedy strikes. He dies in a car accident before he can return.
Wow.
I know.
And that's where the story shifts from missed connections to grief and regret. She's not just mourning him. She's mourning all those possibilities that are now gone.
At the reading of his will, she meets his ex-wife. And it comes out that he was never really happy in his marriage.
It's like he was living someone else's life. And it makes you think about, you know, how much we compromise in life to fit in
Yeah.
or to meet other people's expectations.
Yeah. And it makes you wonder, was he drawn back to the farm, back to her? Because he was searching for something more, something authentic.
Absolutely. It's like he knew deep down that true happiness isn't about success or
Yeah.
money. It's about following your heart.
And that leads us to his diary, which is basically his life story, starting from the moment they met.
Talk about a treasure trove of hidden feelings.
Right.
And the diary is like a window into his soul.
Mm-hmm.
He's finally able to express all the things he never said out loud.
And what he says is, well, it's heartbreaking. He loved her all along, from that very first meeting at the fence.
Oh, wow.
He just never had the courage to tell her.
It makes you look at their whole relationship in a new light. All those stolen glances, the way he sought her out. It all points to a love that was always there, just hidden.
I'm getting teary-eyed just thinking about it. And to think, the day he died, he's finally going to tell her how he felt. It's like fate was against them.
It really is tragic. But it also highlights the importance of being vulnerable, of expressing yourself, even when it's scary.
So much to think about, so much to unpack.
Definitely. Makes you think about all the times you've held back. Let fear get in the way.
Totally. Like, what if she had just said something any time over the years, under the stars? Would things have been different?
It's impossible to know for sure, but it makes you wonder, about those sliding door moments in life.
I keep coming back to that fence. It's where they first met, where they sought comfort, and where they said goodbye for the last time.
It's like their whole relationship
Yeah.
is kind of tied to that fence.
And then the diary. I mean,
Yeah.
it's basically him reaching out from beyond the grave, saying, hey, I loved you.
It's such a powerful symbol. It raises questions about communication. How much do we leave unsaid?
And sometimes those unsaid things are the things that matter most. Imagine reading that diary, knowing he felt the same way.
It's bittersweet. Happy to know the feelings were mutual, but sad because it's too late.
It makes you realize how fragile life is
Mm.
and how important it is to cherish the people we love, tell them how we feel.
Absolutely. We get so caught up in our day-to-day that we forget to prioritize those connections.
This story really shows that we don't always know what others are thinking. We build walls based on our own insecurities.
Yeah. And we miss out on real connection.
Because in the end, isn't it better to have loved and lost than never to have loved at all?
That's the question this story asks. It's not just about love. It's about life, loss, and being true to yourself.
What resonates most with you about this story?
Honestly, it's how universal the themes are. We've all felt that unrequited love, the fear of rejection, the what ifs.
Then it stays with you long after you finish reading it.
Definitely. It makes you think about your own life, your own choices.
That ending with the line about not waiting to tell someone how you feel.
Powerful. It's a call to action.
Yeah. Be present. Be vulnerable.
Absolutely. And remember that life is short.
I don't know about you, but this deep dive has been a roller coaster. I'm feeling all kinds of things right now.
For two.
Yeah?
It's definitely a story that gets under your skin.
It makes you question things about yourself,
Yeah.
about your relationships.
You know, there's another aspect we haven't talked about. Fate and timing.
Right. Like, even if she had said something, would it have changed the outcome?
Hard to say. Free will versus destiny.
On one hand, you could argue that her hesitation contributed to their misconnection, but on the other hand, he died. So maybe it was just never meant to be.
Almost like the universe was testing them.
It makes you think about the bigger picture. Are we in control, or are we just along for the ride?
No easy answers. It's probably a mix of both.
It makes you appreciate every moment.
Every connection.
A sad love story reminds us that life is precious.
And unpredictable.
We should never take our relationships for granted.
Live with no regrets.
Well said. So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with a question. What would you have done if you were in her shoes? Would you have taken that chance, or would you have let fear hold you back?
Yeah. It really makes you think about the choices we make.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into a sad love story, what's your biggest takeaway?
I think for me, it's that reminder that life is just a series of moments, and each one is an opportunity to connect, to grow, to be ourselves. This story, it shows us the beauty and the heartbreak that can exist in those moments.
And it's not just about romantic love, right? It's about all our relationships, friends, family, even those random encounters with strangers.
Exactly. All those connections are precious.
This deep dive has been something else. We've laughed, we've cried,
We've gone deep.
and it just shows you the power of a good story.
It can connect us in ways we never thought possible.
And these themes, love, loss, searching for meaning, they resonate with everyone.
Yeah, no
Yeah.
matter who you are or where you come from.
And even when things are sad, there's always hope.
Always a chance to learn and grow.
So as we say goodbye to a sad love story, let's take those lessons with us.
Be brave.
Be vulnerable.
Tell the people you love that you love them.
Embrace every moment.
The good and the bad.
Beautifully said. Thanks for joining us. Until next time, keep diving deep
Keep those hearts open.
and never be afraid to tell your story.